just because you said it may not happen, but at least you'll know, and it wouldn't be a surprise one day you come in and there's a big nightclub in the front. Like that, you won't be surprised by it, at least. But I doubt that's what's going to happen, but I'm just giving you the importance of transparency, and I think this board does a great job of being very transparent. As we don't get the agenda, we don't get anything. We don't get anything besides our community service to. There's no check. I don't even get no perks. I don't get got or nothing. I'm like, where's the perks to be on this committee? So the reason why we're here is a full service for you and doing and making the best decision for the community. I promise you, nothing on the table, I don't get no checks, or nothing, no payoff, and nobody does.
This is community
So
service.
this is total community service, and well, we got king cake today.
Yeah, king cake. That
We
was
got
so
king
big.
cake from Tim. So this is.
Charles, should we get a check this morning?
So just wanted to reiterate that again about transparency and that our best interest is to service you, but know that change is coming. Be open-minded, and it has to produce revenue.
Any other board members?
I find myself in kind of an awkward position here, because to some respects I agree with Charles. What I have seen in the past, and I want to caution this board to be aware of it, because I have confidence that you will if you're aware of it. A momentum builds up. Somebody gets an idea, they publish this idea, they put a nice glitzy proposal forward, and it is almost accepted as if that's what we should be doing. And the conversation now is not, what is the right thing to do, but why shouldn't we do this? And I think that's the wrong approach in this situation. And frankly, when I heard Brian talk about what HRA had done, sounds like that exact same thing, which is what the Regional Planning Commission had done. They had this great presentation, they had this idea, and after that, there were no voices that were going to stop that, because it had so much momentum building up. And the bulwark against that momentum is this board. And the way to make sure that we don't get run over by momentum is being ready when we get in advance. I want to give one example about the parking, because this is typical of the type of what I refer to as chicanery. You're right, there's zoning rules. So the conversation with the Regional Planning Commission was, we have zoning rules, we have parking requirements in Orleans, we have parking requirements in Jefferson. Jefferson required greater parking because it was primarily an urban area, and so more people would be expected to be driving to the restaurants or the retail places, as opposed to Orleans, which was an urban area. To make it fit, the Regional Planning Commission said, well, we'll take the smaller one. When in fact, the smaller one does not fit. This is not a place where people are going to walk to come to. They said, oh yeah, people will park over by the grocery store and walk over. That's nonsense. The one thing, and I only want one thing, I don't really care what the development there is, and I've said it all along. All I want is to make sure that whatever goes there does not unduly interfere with the quality of life and the nature of the West End area as it existed. And I know that that's what y'all share, and I just want to urge you to be very vigilant, because I feel that that momentum that I've seen start before, it gets overrun, is getting ready to get started again. But that's all I wanted to say, and I'm sure that y'all share my thoughts about what it should be.
Thank you. Real quick, thank you.
I appreciate your comment, Carrie, I really do. And I would hope that this board, and what I've heard from board members is, we plan to give everything a very good, hard scrutiny, and I think we all want to take, just cautionary tale of don't let the momentum of something that gets proposed overrun us with, bright lights and glitz. Let's be vigilant as to what we look at and what we may eventually approve or not approve.
Thank you.
I think our decision is going to come down to, what we're getting out of this is really like rent back in revenues for the corporation. And I don't think there's many people on this board that are going to choose the highest rent that would, overrun the area. I'd take a 33% reduction in rent for something that fits well and doesn't overrun, as we say. I think a lot of people share that. I don't want to speak for anybody else. And I think this is now the phase, like in RFQ and RFPs, like where we voice that. So nothing's been formed yet. They just gave us a study on the area to say, hey, here's what we might want to be thinking and be open.
But might get supported.
Yeah.
Mean supported, when I say supported financially. And I always like to say, I'm sorry, I support. I like to say feasibility study means nothing. The only feasibility study I know of is when somebody's willing to come and put a whole bunch of their dollars somewhere. Other than that, it ain't feasible. And so I understand what you're saying. Somebody comes up with some big grandiose thing. Only speaking for myself, unilaterally here, right? I own a bunch of rental property. I hope I don't offend anybody with this. Ain't got a single Airbnb in it, and I could have done it in some prime locations. That's my highest and best use. But I don't believe in it. I don't think it's right. I think you hear again and again from board members saying, we're going to do what's right by everybody that we represent. I'm going to try and guide it that way, and I hope everybody else has the same mindset. I think you hear from people up here again and again.
So just real quick, respectfully, the original CA called for highest and best use. So you can understand our concerns because we talked about what does produce the greatest revenue. So, I appreciate you guys saying that, but what the city council passed with Jefferson Parish was for best revenue.
Right. Not caught again, but I don't want to delay too much on it, but highest and best use is not the most dollars, and it's very clear about that in its definition, and it's accepted across the world. When you look it up, like developers in Canada and Europe use the same definition, and it takes into not just what's possible, probable, but also what is, I'm not saying the right word, I'm butchering it, but to paraphrase, amenable to the community. So it's not just the dollars is the last thing listed in there. So, highest and best use, everybody thinks means, and I heard you say it, I mean, this is all about dollars. That is not what highest and best use means.
Okay.
That's not the definition. So I hope that anybody who uses that, they read the definition and know what they're talking about when they say it. I for many meetings, had it sitting right here, so I could reference it, and I don't want to take from my briefcase, but. All right, any other comments? No. All right, thank you everyone for your quality of life committee.